March break is a much longer break this year due to COVID-19 after most provinces have canceled school for an additional 2 weeks.
That's right. That means kids are at home for a very long time with very little to do. Here to explain the reasons behind this social distancing and how parents and kids can fill the time is pediatrician Dr. Joelene Huber. All right, Dr. Joe.
We have a million questions.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so let's begin with the ask of families, because it is a very big ask.
Right.
What is the expectation here?
So social distancing, and I know we've heard that, this is the first time we've really heard that phrase for many people, but what it really is an infection control measure, and it's one of those infection control measures that really helps to slow or even stop the spread of contagious illnesses, specifically like COVID-19, which have spread through droplets and that kind of thing. And so what it is just staying away from people. So staying home as much as you can, not being in groups with people, keeping your distance at least 6 feet from people.
I just adjusted right there. I was just like, okay.
Well, no,
hold on. Okay.
My body language says I don't like you, but I just want you to know that I do.
Right.
I'm just, yeah.
Right. So, and in some cities where they've taken these extreme measures, which it really is extreme, but it's because this is really serious, it's helped to slow the progression. And the reason why we want to slow that is you hear about the flattening the curve, and everybody's seen that graph where you have the big peak where it goes beyond where the healthcare system can manage because so many people get sick so quickly. And yeah, that's it. And that's what they're experiencing in Italy. And so there's people that don't have ICU, they don't have enough ICU beds or ventilators. Yeah.
So the kids seem to be, from what we're seeing, the least to be affected.
Right.
So then, by the virus, so why these measures for the kids?
That's a great question, and we are very fortunate, and the good news is that children are getting very mild forms of the illness as far as we can see from other countries. So that's the good news. But what we know is that because it's so mild, sometimes they're not showing symptoms at all. So they don't even know that they have it.
Okay.
And they're spreading it to other
Carriers.
people. And also, you know, kids like my son, when his friends come over, the first thing they're doing is wrestling, they're touching each other. Kids touch their noses, their faces. They don't have good cough etiquette or hand hygiene. And so kids are in close contact. They're often the biggest spreaders of viruses.
Okay, so you mentioned your son and his friends. So what should we do with our kids over the next few weeks? Should we not have play dates at all?
Yeah. And
what about sleepovers? I mean,
because
and we're
social distancing and then there's isolation.
Right.
So that's, I feel like, where there's a big confusion, because social distancing is this.
Yeah.
Isolation is away from your friends, no play dates. So help.
So social distancing is as much as you can to avoid face-to-face or close social contact. And so you have to use your discretion, but the more that you can do it, the better. And so, you know, if you have a friend and you want to have a play date, your kids are going crazy, have them play outside, go for a hike, go for a bike ride or something like that. Use there's lots of tech alternatives that we have. My friend said on the weekend her kids were playing hide and go seek over Skype. There's house parties.
Hide and go seek over Skype. How does that work? I'm just
one
trying to
kid,
process that.
One hides,
and who wants to play?
One hides, and the others were instructing the sibling where to walk through the house. And there's TikTok apps where kids are dancing remotely and being creative together. House Party is an app where
So
kids.
yes to play dates or no?
Pardon?
Yes to play dates or no in the house?
I think it's, you know, you want to avoid sleepovers, group play dates, indoor play places, movies. You want to avoid, and as much as you can, avoid those. Try to get outside if you have to have a play date. If you have a visitor, make sure they don't have symptoms, have them wash their hands, wash everything down. But I would avoid it as much as possible.
Keep the lines of communication over. If you're going to have one friend, talk to the parents maybe beforehand.
Yeah.
What is going on in your house?
But the issue is they could have it and they can be contagious before they even start to present.
So you're saying
symptoms.
no play dates potentially in the house? Walking outside, playing outside?
I mean, and even on the play structures, you want to be careful. I would just be as extremely careful as you can.
Okay.
Visiting grandparents, out of the question?
So again, they're in that high risk category, right? Most grandparents over 60 is when the risk really starts to increase in terms of serious illness, especially if they have a chronic illness or chronic disease. You want to be careful. So again, practicing social distancing. If you have to see them, keep your distance, make sure that nobody has symptoms. But if you can do anything virtually, have them. I had my mother-in-law on FaceTime, and we had dinner with her over FaceTime on Saturday night because she's in Quebec and she's been told told to stay home because she's over 70. So
you set the iPad.
yeah, we just had a virtual dinner together.
Wow.
What is the best way? I know we have to go, but what is the best way to talk to kids about it? Do we wait for them to bring it up? Do we keep the news off? Do we? Because they know that their activities have been canceled. We're not seeing Bobby down the street. So how do we talk to them about this?
So you want to stay calm because they're going to read from your cues, but you want to be honest and fact-based. Don't say, oh, you're not going to get this. They may get it. But you can say, we know that most children, it's very mild. There's doctors that are taking care of people.
Right.
And they'll read from your cues. Don't be over-anxious or nonchalant about it. And it's a good point you brought up about the news. Too much news, kids can't process it in the same way that we can. So constantly talking to them about it, asking if they're having fears, if they start complaining of different symptoms because they're worried, you want to bring that up and make sure that
Explain to them, it's like an ambulance. When you see an ambulance coming over, you move over to the side to let everyone clear. So that's what we're all doing. We're moving out of the way to be socially responsible.
Explain that they're helping other people by what we're doing.
Right.
Exactly.
Dr. Joelene Huber, thank you so much.
Look at you got all.
What'd I do?
You got all like.
Did I?
Yeah.
All right. If you like it, I can keep doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in and
Thanks for having me.
answering our questions. All right, we're going to take a short break.